because we about to go out there and do what they want. Now give me my theme music!
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Rounded Corners. I'm Alan.
I'm Mitch.
Today, we're going to be talking specifically about our card show recap from this weekend, your card show, Forever Young Sports Cards, the Region Sports Cards and Collectibles. That was this last weekend in Maryville, Indiana.
Yeah, man, it was a blast, man. I saw you grinding all weekend, bro.
Grinding, man. And I think one of the things we really want to kind of discuss on this podcast for people listening is that we really want to talk about it from a dealer perspective and the trends we're seeing as a dealer.
Things are changing, man. I think I had a different view on one thing of the show. I think you thought about an idea going into the show that was, I think, a success from my point of view, watching you be the show promoter. So I think it was very insightful for maybe what the future of the hobby is going to entail over the next couple of months.
Well, every show, and I don't know, like, let's put this in perspective. I am a lot shorter in my journey on being a dealer. So this is my second time being a dealer since I was probably 12 with my grandpa. So that I don't even know if that really counts. But this is my really, I'm still on my path of, growing into who I'm going to become down the road. You've been doing this for a long time, a lot longer than I have.
Yeah. And it's crazy how much everything's changed.
And I'm sure that's probably one of the cool things about being in the game so long is seeing all the trends and how it shifts.
And not even being that old, dude. I'm 33, you know. But seeing how.
But in card years, you're like 75.
It's like dog years, right? You know, I think the biggest thing is we went through this whole thing. Everything was raw. People hated graded cards. Then grading is everything. And I think I want to kick it off with the biggest surprise to me at the show is I felt that raw was king.
Raw slayed for us. I know that.
And in my booth, the two biggest sales I had were huge stacks of one-touched autos.
Yep.
Of guys that are impact players in the league. I had some jazz, some baseball, mostly football.
Yep.
Football was still the king of everything I sold. But for me, it's I've been telling people, football's king, unfortunately. There isn't, a true offseason for football anymore. Everyone talked about the Combine. The big breaking news right before the show. Bears trading their one pick, getting DJ Moore.
Yeah.
I had people running around the room trying to find DJ Moore autos. Multiple people came to our booth. Hey, DJ Moore. Hey, Chase Claypool. It got to the point, I think, that Justin Fields was so sought after at the show that people were turning to, who are his wide receivers and making entry-level investments.
Yeah, I heard a lot of Justin Fields. I heard a lot of Jordan Love. Jordan Love was a big name, too. That's a good one to drop. Yeah, and then the ones that you mentioned, too. I feel like the DJ Moore, Claypool. I didn't hear much Christian Watson, what I was a little surprised by. But At least the Jordan Love hype was real. And I thought, this is the first time I felt Herbert's market. It's pretty much rock bottom since he's been in the league at this point.
I think some of the pixie dust is falling off. And I think something's going on with the Chargers, too. And I don't want to get into full sports talk right now, but Eckler trying to bounce out and other things like that. I think here's what I think. I think cards are forcing people to become better sports fans. And I think people are starting to, follow what's going on in the leagues and what's getting said on SportsCenter, what's getting talked about on sports radio.
Mm-hmm.
And, sports radio and SportsCenter and all these shows, NFL Network, they're loving on Justin Fields hard right now.
Right on.
Hard. This is the best PR Justin Fields has got probably since the day he got drafted in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields were kings of the card show from my perspective.
Big time. And you didn't see a lot of either, really. By day 2, I feel like they were all pretty much wiped out.
People bought everything.
Yep.
And if people had it, they were stashing it, / I'm going to put a stupid price on it. If someone wants to buy it, it's on them. Otherwise, I'm keeping this card.
Oh, yeah.
I went in with a lot of graded. I had Zach pump out a bunch of graded stuff. Out of the graded stuff we brought to the show, the $50 and less graded boxes that I put out for the first time seemed to be the best success for the graded stuff.
Interesting.
The high-end graded wasn't, it was looked at, admired, but wasn't bought a lot. But out of the more expensive product I had, it was all raw.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I'm just kind of spitballing. To me, there's 3 types of buyers at a card show. There's the whale hunter. who's just literally they're walking in there with 20 grand in their pocket, and they're going there and they're going table to table trying to buy up as much big and high end stuff that they see they can get a value for. Then there's the second person who probably took $200 to $300, was going to probably be more of a socialist approach of going to all the tables, finding deals. But then there's like a big push, which I would say is the majority of buyers who go there not expecting to buy anything, but then all of a sudden leaving with $50 to $60 when they find deals.
Yeah.
Right? And so what I saw from my perspective is there was a lot of the third tier on Saturday and Sunday. Is that they weren't exactly expecting to spend a lot of money, but when they picked up that first card and saw it, then they looked at everything else on your table to see what other deals they can make.
Yeah, and I think you should elaborate maybe on one of the angles that you did, because I think that really, you projecting that potentially happening, I think was one of what you did with what you were doing with those the Chicago-based autos, right?
Yeah, and I'll start by saying this, is that like I mentioned earlier, I am not a guy who's done a million shows. So I'm working on strategies, and I'm developing them every single time I do this, right? Going into this one, my strategy was snipe a ton of autos of Chicago athletes because we're in the Chicagoland market. And then what I mean by sniping is finding them at about 50% comps of what the buy it now prices tend to go to, right? So I'm talking about Tim Anderson. I'm talking about Eloy Jimenez. I'm not spending a lot of times on fringe guys like Romy Gonzalez, or I want names, right? That's what I'm looking for. And I want something that shines. That's also what I'm looking for.
Absolutely.
So if I see a Tim Anderson Topps Finest refractor auto for $8, I'm buying it. And I'm going to put a price tag on it for $20 to $25. I'll make my money and call it a day. I'm not trying to get rich off it, you know? But I did probably go into battle this weekend with about 30 of those. And that ranges from Nico Horner, Bowman's best rookies, to Ian Happ, Bowman's best rookies, to Wilson Contreras, Topps pristine stuff. Tim Anderson, Eloy Jimenez, like I mentioned before. And because it's baseball season, I went aggressive into that market. I think if we did this again in August, I'm probably going more. I'm doing the same token, but a lot more aggressive in football.
And you know what? I think, too, at card shows, it's always good to focus on your strength. Football's my strength by a mile. Like, I'm knowledgeable about baseball. I'm okay at basketball. Hockey's probably a weaker point for me. Dude, football, I can tell you what moves have been made, who's the third-string running back for this team, you know, what kind of depth, you know, coaching changes, just because that's my passion.
Heck yeah.
You know, and I know how much you love baseball, so when somebody's passionate about something, it's easier to sell, right?
Sure.
And it was great because, like, the relationship with me and you've built, it's hearing your strategy, me and you talking about this, and, like, seeing you execute it was really cool, man. Like, walking past, because I racked up 20,000 steps plus this weekend, running around like crazy. But, like, seeing the execution of, like, these people come by the table, like, hearing, like, oh, Nico for $20, like, but, like, you know, buying in low, you know, but selling at the good point where they feel like they can make a purchase without, like, breaking the piggy bank.
Yeah, and it was like a bunch of, what was kind of cool about it was there was a dad, I believe he's from Portage, who had his son there, and he was a big White Sox fan. And they came by and they saw the Eloy, they saw the Tim. They were both at 25. And they were like, man, I really want, which one do you want, son? You know, and he's like trying to pick between the Anderson and the Eloy. He settled on the Eloy, which was surprising, but he did it, right? He grabbed it, and the kid's like, okay, thanks, Dad. And then he walks away. 15 minutes later, they come back and they buy the Anderson. So it was like, dude, I just made that, like, and there's no way you're losing on either of those cards at that price.
No, and they like shopped.
That's awesome.
They shopped around the room, probably realized that people didn't have that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and like that was like a good angle. That was like the biggest thing I've seen at card shows is diversifying yourself enough to where you draw people in, but at the same time finding your niche. And the one thing I didn't expect strategy-wise to do, but because I had a second table, I'm like, let's just fill it up with stuff, because I had a monster box of just like random cards. I threw out like a color-coded system where I had like the yellows meant 5, the greens meant 10, and I just threw them out there. And I mean, I'll be the first one to say all my table is pretty much overpriced. I'll be the first one to say that. And the only reason I do it is because I know people who are educational are looking at comps.
And the second reason is I know everybody's coming to my table asking me what my firm price is on that card.
Everybody wants a deal.
Everybody wants a deal. So it's like if I started off a little higher, then I know I can kind of get probably what I want for it at the end of the day.
You know,
do you know what I'm saying?
It kills me because I just had the pleasure of, listen to our Hobby 101 talk, right? It's live, so make sure you're checking that out too. But like that was one of the rules I brought up that like it becoming a trend that's bothering me. And you brought it up again, is the fact that like everyone feels like they need to be like below comps, 75% of comps, like this and that. Like, dude, you could buy stuff at true eBay comps because you're not a dealer. You're a guy walking around a room or a kid walking around a room, like, and it's really, what's the point of comps then? What's the point? It just at this point, it's really like I'm curious on what the future of the hobby is going to take if everyone is going to have this approach moving forward.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But we got a little sidetracked there. But the color-coded thing really slayed for me, too. That first day on Saturday, it was like as soon as someone picked up one $5 card, they left with 6.
Okay.
And so it was really awesome. And the names that I heard a lot also were Griffey. A lot of Griffey love. You said Jeter. I didn't hear much Jeter because I had a few Jeter cards, but nothing.
I think a lot of Yankees fans. You said you heard a lot of Yankees fans, though.
Yeah, well, you had on Sunday you had former Notre Dame players like Rudy, and then you had current. Well, I guess Patterson's a former Notre Dame player.
He's about to get drafted, and then we had Tom Zbikowski.
Yeah, so those three brought in a Notre Dame alliance of network around this area. And I think that I think it's a fair conclusion to drive to that, like, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you might be a Yankees fan too. They're kind of similar boats, So there was a lot of people coming up to me asking me for Notre Dame and Yankees on Sunday specifically when those autograph guys were there.
Okay. And that's an interesting take. What I'm really surprised is you moved a Griffey that you really love.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a hard one to move. And David, if you're listening, I hope you enjoy that card. It was one of those deals that like really made me think, because I ended up if you're listening, I ended up with a Mike Trout 2021 Topps Clearly out of 10 authentic auto. So I'm like, okay, and it was on card too, so that's kind of cool. The things that were going through my head is that it was acetate, so that I know it's not probably going to grade a 10. Hopefully we can get in the 8-9 range if I do send it off, right? Because there's only 10 available, and it's acetate. I mean, is there even a 10 in the out of the 10? I don't know, So even getting a PSA 7 might be the highest pop on the card. Who knows, So I know that Griffey, I feel like I could move it in a Griffey Facebook group for around 600. The last Trout comp was 530. 2 of them out of the 10 have actually sold. But it's like, man, there was a real debate in my head of like, which one do I really want? I knew that they were both iconic. Trout and Griffey are iconic. But like we talked about pre-show, I do think the autograph trumps the rare insert. From a business perspective, when you're even, you feel like you're at an even spot, the auto's always got to trump. Because at the end of the day, you could always sell the auto. Like someone will buy that card because of the auto. Yeah. And, and here's your thing, the rarity, right? Like, was it Topps Gallery, right? The Griffey that I'm talking about is a 97 Topps Gallery of Heroes, first edition of the insert, so that's got some fun to it. It's a stained glass card, so it's really cool in person. Definitely pictures don't do it justice.
No, it's a cool card.
But it's an SGC 10, so that's what I had it as.
I remember submitting it a long time ago.
For me, yeah.
How often those pop
up? Rarely. There's a pop 6 of SGC, and I think the PSA pop 10 is like 15. So they don't pop up quite a bit.
So you can't really bank on the out of 10 for Trout. Like you're like, okay, they're both probably very scarce on how they pop up.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's one of those trades. Probably looking at it from a third party perspective, I feel like both people won.
I think it's a W on both ends. I think Griffey. The difference is Griffey's cemented his legacy. I mean, outside of doing anything in his personal life that's really going to get him a lot of press, he's cemented as a baseball player and as like the Willie Mays of our era. Trout still has time to go. So I mean, things can go awry a little bit, and he's probably at the height of his powers. But
my side is that you say that side of it, but I see the other side. I don't think that Griffey card, like, it's maxed out. I think it's ceiling.
No, I thought that too. So when I first bought that card, I bought it for $50, and then I submitted it, and then it was around a $300 card. Last year, when the Gallery of Heroes came back, when they brought them back in the Topps Gallery set, that card went from 75 raw to you're not getting that card for less than 200 raw, and now that made the 10s really explode too. So you could probably buy back in on that card right now for about 800 on a PSA.
Okay,
if you wanted to.
But if Trout is the best hitter in baseball and hits 50 bombs, and the Angels finally go to the playoffs and do something, what's the upside of that Trout card?
Huge.
That's what I'm saying. So it's one of those that I think both people won. If I was honestly in your situation, I'd probably made the same move.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I know I'm just made it sound like I'm debating it in my head, but I really loved it. Mike Trout's one of my favorite players. So is Griffey, ever. So I'm happy just to get the auto. I'll probably slab it and throw it in my safe and never think about it again. Or put it on a show at a price that I'm like cool selling it for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a Trout auto. Someone's gonna come in. And like I said, we talked about it, like, even if we worry about the acetate and stuff like that. I'm seeing more and more people just put cards in PSA authentic slabs. No grade on it, no nothing. Just to present it better in a showcase.
Heck yeah. And I think that one thing about this show in particular, and I don't know if you had a chance to do it because you were worried about the show and doing logistics. Did you make any deals? Did you acquire anything during the show?
A little bit of wax. Always got to replenish the store. So I saw opportunities to buy some mega boxes to put at the store. I did buy a base set Charizard, random.
Wow.
But it's been like that stuff's been sought after in the store a little bit lately. And the other purchase I made was picked up an orange out of 275 PSA 10 Fields Prism. Wow. I wanted to get, wasn't looking for an auto, but something like Prism or Optic numbered in a 10 slab. Kind of more of my tuck away pile starting my tuck away pile for next year.
Nice.
Because we talked about, like, this would be the time frame I started getting into pick and field stuff before football season.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that plan is not working too good right now. The fact that this trade goes down, and he might be the hottest player to grab outside of Trevor Lawrence in all of football right now.
Him and Lawrence are on an uptick, and deservingly so uptick.
Absolutely.
Like the Herbert stuff, I never completely understood. I really didn't. But this one, it's like both teams are on a projection upward. Both guys are super marketable. It's like that. And like if they don't perform this year, then I can understand if their market drops a little bit. But I see it. I see the value in those cards,
dude. You told me a year ago that we're gonna have DJ Moore and Chase Claypool as our wide receivers and have 4 picks in the top 65. That's the most geek Bears offseason I've been in like years, man.
Oh, yeah. No, it's huge.
So that stuff impacts the market big time. And like I said, the biggest takeaway, Raw was king. Football was still a top seller. The only other thing I thought was really cool is I've seen a lot of people trying to do unique stuff with their booth. Like the dice game at one guy's booth, your color coordinated thing with the cards laid out, or mystery packs and stuff. Like people really getting creative on how to try to move product. And I think that with the way the market's trended downward, the ups and lows, the valleys, that people are getting smarter in a way to try to move cards.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool though. It makes people like the creativity of people how to move a product.
Hell yeah. I mean, my takeaway from the day, and like you're right, I think I did see a lot of creativity this time through. The idea of stuffing mystery packs and watching people open them in front of me and not get anything is just like so much anxiety. It's like I'd feel bad.
Yeah,
I would feel horrible because I know I've stuffed that thing with. If I got 50 mystery packs, there's one pack in there that's probably worth a damn. But my biggest takeaways was I did well moving inventory. Loved that. So I moved a ton of cards. I probably sold, at the end of the day, 200 cards over the weekend in some capacity. What hurt my bottom line, which is also a really big win, is I acquired a lot of really good stuff at a great price.
And it's a lot of temptation because there's so many people, they carry the briefcase order. You buying? You buying?
Oh, yeah.
You buying?
I love those people, man. Keep coming. Because it's like they're usually willing to work. I got 2 cards that is probably going into my like back end of my PC. I got a 93-94 Topps Finest Jordan. It's a base. It's not the refractor, but it's a beautiful card. It's one of mine that I always wanted.
Those Finest cards, I remember chasing those as a kid.
So sick. There's a little bit of a soft corner, but I think it could at least PSA 8. So I might send it in just to have it. But those cards are tough to grade anyway.
Yeah.
But I got that one. I got the Trout auto. I picked up a Jordan Walker Sapphire First Bowman, which has jumped in about $75 more in value since the show because he's hot right now. And then I really did some damage on football. I got a lot of Mechie stuff, and I'm so excited for that.
That is an interesting play. As somebody I wrote down on my list on my desk on a Post-it note. I'm going to send you a picture and go, look into his market. Because, somebody's going to have to be the number 1 wide receiver for... There's going to be the number 2 pick of the draft's going to be a quarterback. Right? So they're going to probably C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young.
There is no way if Bryce Young's at 2, they're not taking him. There's no way.
And supposedly the favorite to go number 1 C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
As of right now.
Yep.
And wasn't Mechie Bryce Young's receiver for a year?
Yes. It's literally
so there's going to be
chemistry.
Chemistry off the gate.
Yep.
And cheer on a dude that literally just beat cancer, right?
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like the sentimental component of it is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's and he's got a great auto. Have you seen his auto?
I want to say yes, but I'm not picturing it in my head right now.
Dude, it looks like it's on the Declaration of Independence.
Awesome. And I totally appreciate it because I work with a lot of athletes and signatures lately. So when I see the auto, like Jared Patterson at the show, I'm like, I literally told him, man, you got a great auto. He's like, what? He's like, no, dude, I really, as a dealer, I appreciate this because I'm tired of J line.
Yeah.
And that counts as an autograph.
Oh, yeah. So, through that stuff, I got a lot. I had a list of guys. I feel like Trayvon Walker is so underpriced right now. It doesn't even make sense.
That was my big trade night one for me. I picked up 2 of his autos and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
The dude was a monster.
He was the number 1 pick in the draft.
Number 1 pick. And the Jaguars are a squad,
and
man.
they're on the come up, dude. So it's I'm taking that all day. I love Olave. I do. Every single defensive back that covered him last year said he was unguardable. I love that, including Jalen Ramsey.
And he's got Derek Carter.
Now he's got a quarterback. That's super fun. Picked up a lot of Mechie, a lot of Olave, a lot of Trayvon Walker, and I took a lot of Judy too.
Okay, I understand that from Sean Payton and that aspect. And like I said, look where we're at right now. Football is still king.
I know, but but I felt like it was so underpriced that I couldn't buy it. I could not buy it.
I didn't buy any baseball. All I bought was football.
I bought baseball.
I bought 1 Pokemon card and all football.
I bought a Matt Olson logo fractor auto for $15.
God, that does not scream these almost underrated players.
That does not make sense at all. I picked up an Ozzie Albies Topps Chrome rookie out of 200.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that. Hopefully that kid can put it together this year a little bit. What else did I grab? I grabbed another auto. Oh, I grabbed Alec Thomas, Bowman's Best rookie auto.
We talked about who was
excited about
probably
that.
Could be the leadoff hitter for the Diamondbacks, who got a lot of talent that nobody talks about.
And he's in the World Baseball Classic, running everything down from Mexico. So I felt like I came out of there feeling really good about things. But that's the give and take, right? If you make $1,000 at the show, you probably end up giving back $500. But that's the beauty of it. That it keeps the ecosystem healthy.
Absolutely, and then we're gonna have another trade night hopefully coming up soon. That you got fresh inventory now to move.
Yep.
And it's as long as you're ahead today compared to where you were yesterday. At the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Oh yeah, I feel like the stuff I walked out with. If I came in with 2 monster boxes, I left with 1, but that one was fire.
Yeah.
More fire than it was. Let's put it that way.
And you're still on that path now of what we talked about, both of us. At the end of the year, being to the goal of putting more stock in the quality versus the quantity.
Big time.
And
Color,
I think
number.
that was the biggest learning lesson, I think, for both of us. Me being a store owner, you being entry level, like it's on different scales, but it's still the same cause and same view on things.
Heck yeah. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up here?
Just hope everybody had a lot of fun. I know we did, and we'll be working on planning some new shows and events moving forward, so make sure you check us out on Forever Young Sports Cards on all of our social media handles and foreveryoungsportscards.com.
Yeah, so go make sure you follow Forever Young Sports Cards on YouTube. Go to his website, find out what kind of memorabilia and card stuff he has going on. Give a follow to Drop Third Sports too. We've launched that and it's been really fun. So give that a shout out. And then, if you have any questions, feel free to email us at Alan, ALAN, at local219.tv. Maybe we'll do a mailbag episode pretty soon of just questions we're getting in, which is pretty cool. Other than that, take care and have a good day.